up now we have the beautiful Yuri, and she is from Japan, who is a Sustainability Officer, School Director, and Principal Educator at the Yuri Education Center. She has been honored as the top leading influential woman in education by the CT Today Awards. She is bringing innovation to education with a new perspective in sustainability and active learning. As an educator myself, I am so excited to hear her talk, which will be on empowering women and shaping the future through education and sustainability. Take it away, Yuri. Thank you.
Thank you very much for introduction. My name is Yuri, and I am from Japan, but I live in Mexico, so it's very early in the morning, like 5:30 in the morning. But I usually get up early, so yes. And then, well, my education center's name is Yuri Education Center. I set up this education center about 2 years ago, and it's pretty new. But I have been teaching math, sciences, and languages for about more than 20 years. And then I started to include people from all over the world. That is the concept. Let me introduce my education center and myself. And our education center's motto is we discuss, lead, and act. And then, well, I have been teaching, as I told you, as an educator, principal educator, and a school director. And then I am also a PhD candidate at EGADE Business School in Mexico. And then my major is, well, I do research about sustainability and corporate social responsibility. And then I love teaching as well. And then, well, about 2 years ago, I set up Yuri Education Center. Education Center is consisted of three parts. The first part is Yuri's Happy English. And then I realized that, oh, I am a mother of two children, 13-year-old girl and 10-year-old boy. And then while I was pregnant and also while I raised my babies, I realized that it is very easy for mothers to get lonely, become lonely, staying at home. And then even during the COVID-19 pandemic period, mothers really require to stay at home, most mothers, yes, and to raise and take care of the children. Of course, it's the happiest time, but in the morning time, especially in the morning time while the husbands are working, mothers feel very lonely. So I decided to gather those mothers in the community center. Community center was not very crowded, so I started to teach English music to the babies and the mothers. And the purpose is to let them gather so that they can discuss with other mothers and also they can learn English and they can really be active using their body and using their mouth to speak out. So I was able to empower women too. And those are the pictures. And then a lot of Japanese mothers are interested in educating their babies both in Japanese and English. And then well, English education, they think that is very important. They need to start really as early as possible. So eventually, not only mothers and fathers came to join, especially during the weekend, like Saturday class. Well, some fathers became interested in joining. So they became very relaxed and also they became excited. And then I have seen their smiles. And the babies got excited as well. And then, in terms of sustainability, I utilized the sustainability related books or animal nature related books to read them in English. Yeah. And then, well, it was a great opportunity to learn sustainability, especially focusing on 17 goals. Well, that was actually suggested, set up by UN, United Nations. And then 17 goals, even small children understand like those content. And then the second one was academy level art and science, especially in Japan. After school, They actually can do a lot of things. They do swimming and also other extracurricular activities. But I decided to gather them and then letting them by actually teaching them how to do field work, how to make presentation, and then how to discuss sustainability related topics. And then seminar and also waste to wow workshop I decided to hold. And this is called Waste to Wow, Responsible Repurposing for Sustainable Future. Each student decided their own focusing topic regarding repurposing topic. And then, well, each person, of course, decided and then selected a different topic. For example, using her old toys, right? She could send those or she could bring those to the kids in developing countries. Or about the food and also kimono. Kimono is a traditional cloth in Japan. It's very, very elegant, but not so many young people are wearing kimono nowadays. So one girl suggested that, well, okay, she could utilize that kimono to make something new by using kimono material. Okay, and also some people, some children have books, old books, but it those are actually not old. Those can be utilized in other developing countries. So yes, they brought their books and clothes to some developing countries and to the children in need. So um, the elementary school students and the junior high school students became interested in, well, actually presenting and also being active, taking actions, right? And then because each topic is very unique, they get really motivated to take their own action. That was something new. And then as an educator, I decided to do something for them too. I decided to utilize the old recycled motorcycle tire in order to make pairs of sandals. And then in Japan, wearing sandals is such a common practice. And then during the summertime, I have seen, and we can see many people wearing sandals. And then the tire itself, especially Japanese people keep changing those tires, but motorcycle tire, not many of them are so old, still new, can be utilized. So motorcycle store owner actually let me use those for free. I mean, gave those tires for free, and then it didn't take so much time to make sandals out of this tire. And then as straps, as you can see here, I utilized the mountain climbing ropes, but those are not really old. Yeah, we can repurpose those. So it's important for educators to demonstrate what we can do as well, not only just teaching, but demonstrating something we can do is also important to educate children, yeah, and the youth. So that is the second section of my school. And then the third section, I realized that, okay, by gathering Japanese students, okay, we can solve a lot of things, but why don't we include some other people from other countries, foreign countries? So especially people, students in Japan used to be very shy and conservative. But why don't we include the ones from India, Singapore, other parts of Asia, right? And especially the ones from Pakistan, they have been very active. And then I started to include the ones in other parts of Asia first, and then the other parts from Africa and Latin America and Europe. Eventually, multinational, right? Many people from all over the world joined the Zoom session. Of course, those were held online. And then not only male students, of course, female students became very, very active, especially the ones from Pakistan and the ones from other parts of Asia. Yeah. Okay. And then, as I told you, in Japan, we have a tendency to follow suit, and then we prefer conformity and then collectiveness. So that is why we tend to be very shy and conservative. But in order to speak out, in order to be expressive, we cannot be shy. So by including the more active people from all over the world, Japanese students have been learning more in order to express themselves and also be more active in discussions. And then this is the example. For example, like in order to the papers, for example, when they draw pictures, the paper she has been using so much amount of paper, and then the paper itself it costs a lot. And then when she has to like keep buying those sketchbooks and it takes so much space, then a lot of children, for example, they nowadays they start using iPad or like tablets in order to draw the picture. And then in terms of like manual drawing, the colors would change and the paper quality would be become bad, right? But in terms of digital, they can keep the better quality. So this is one of the ways she can reduce the amount of paper. And also, as she said, like she will be able to see the same image, same pictures in their tablet, in her tablet 10 years from now, right? So yeah, by experience, they have been presenting um, their own artworks and also their opinions too. And then those are the pictures. And then 7, 8, 9-year-old kids, very active. The most active ones are actually from 12 to 17 up to high school students. And then not only the students, but also adults like sustainability practitioners and also the professors. They came to join to give them lectures and also to observe how the classes are. So really enjoyable. Yep. About 20 or 30 people each time join and they share their opinions from all over the world. Yeah, and sometimes they only have one computer, so they're looking at one screen. But the ones sitting in the backside, right? They kept raising their hands and then they mention their opinions. On the other hand, in Japan, one student has very expensive computer headset, but they are very shy, so they have learned that okay, they need to speak up. Even though they have expensive headphone or computer, if they don't speak out, that's really meaningless. So yeah, they got influenced. Like they really received good influence from the people from all over the world, especially from the developing countries. Yeah. But I would say that the one students in Africa, for example, no, they are not in the developing countries anymore. Yeah, their education level is quite advanced. So that is another observation. And then in order to unite the people, yes, I usually let them think about the common theme first as an assignment. For example, do you live in an urban area or rural area? And then please explain the advantages and disadvantages. Those questions are not very difficult, simple enough to get prepared for the discussion. Yeah. Yeah, and then discussion was very active, and then nobody was quiet. Everybody spoke and then mentioned their opinions. Yeah, that kind of environment setting is very important. Yeah, for the children, of course, and also for the teachers. Yeah, in our youth, it's important to consider why in addition to what to make our discussions more interesting and to better understand people on the same earth. Yeah. Okay. Another focusing goal is quality education, of course. Yeah. And then not only providing quality education, I let the students think what types of educational problems do they encounter in their country, Yeah, the important thing is not only to discuss, but also to find the solutions by themselves, right? They cannot rely on adults because they will be the future leaders. So each time I let them discuss what they can do in order to improve the education environment or education itself. So they are pretending as if they were the real teachers. So they are the ones who provide their education. So they need to think about what kind of educational programs exist and also what kind of solutions they can provide. Yeah. And then, as I told you, I let adults join too. Yes. And then, as volunteers, a lot of them raise their hands to join the sessions as volunteers. And especially the ones who graduated from Oxford or, yes, National University of Singapore or, very famous schools. They are happy to join the discussion, to exchange the opinions, and sometimes they become reviewers. And then the young people, students, made a pitch about like 10-minute pitch. And then after that, those alumni members give feedback to each student. That was quite important. And then each time I set up the common theme. Yeah, at that time the theme was SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. Yeah, and then I was very impressed with the unique solution. Yeah, and then they are just a junior high, well, elementary school, junior high, high school students. Yeah, especially from Pakistan. Yeah, and then, well, that's how they are. Yeah, they were smiling, and then they acquired a lot. And then one of them, her name is Aizel. At that time, she was 12. And then, well, with her parents' help, of course, she set up an organization. She had has her own organization, and then as her task, or she feels that's a responsibility, but she actually suggested us that okay, everybody needs to work on something, and then that is her project. And then in the ocean, as we can imagine, there are many ghost nets abandoned by fishermen. I don't know, by mistake or intentionally, I don't know. But a lot of ghost nets actually destroy the marine environment. That was a big issue, especially in Pakistan. And then it took some time to like get those ghost nets, but how to change those ghost nets to something miracle, it took so much time. So Izel actually gave a solution. Now she could change those ghost nets, okay, to good nets, to the nets for football, soccer. And then who will do that? Women, yes, women in Pakistan will are very good at changing the nets from ghost nets to good nets. So those nets became soccer nets, football nets. And then the important thing is to create the opportunity where women can do something, contribute something. Yeah. And then, yes, and then this project is ongoing and a lot of collaborators she was able to get. So no matter how old they are, they can do something for the environment. And then I will keep empowering women, well, and then the youth. And then they actually empowering themselves, like by giving them power. Actually, I am receiving so much power from them. So it is really reciprocal. And then another theme is that because I
Okay, Yuri,
encourage young
just to let you
students.
know, because I don't want to
Yeah,
interrupt your
yeah, yeah.
flow, just to let you know there's like 5 minutes, okay?
So
And
much.
can we
Yes.
just ensure
Yeah.
also that that if we're not speaking that we are muted because it's a little distracting for the speaker. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay. 3 or 4 minutes to go. Yeah. A lot of young leaders, as I encourage them to be innovative or to become active leaders, sometimes they lose um, the meaning and the importance of balancing heritage and innovation, tradition and innovation. And then, in my opinion, balancing heritage and innovation is very important. Not only being innovative, but we have to conserve our heritage. So that was the topic. And a lot of young students gave her own idea how to balance innovation and tradition. Yeah. And before starting the class, I let them send and then, well, share their own solution. I suggested that, okay, we could make another goal. Let's say goal 18, preserve and promote heritage and tradition. And that's their each answer. Yeah. And then, as you can see, from all over the world, from African continents, European continents, Latin American, American, and Asian, right? So it's really, I thought their opinions might be really different, but we could find some common answers, right? Yeah. We need to adapt instead of abandoning tradition, right? Okay. So yes, we can integrate innovation with tradition. Yes. Yeah, the one from Mexico, well, she was talking about energy transition, but it's also important to balance innovation and heritage. The one from Tanzania, she also said that, yes, it is important to balance. And then not only girls, but boys. Actually, they are still young, but sometimes they are teachers already in our session. They are the experts. For example, yeah, Ariane was expert for like those SDGs, SDG 3, 7, 11, and 13. Yeah, and it's important to be a teacher in the session too. So no matter how old they are, I let them become teachers in the session. Yeah. And then, well, some conservative girls, of course, they need to be careful about what to wear. So, well, while being conservative, her solution was, yes, really innovative. So she shared her idea in the local area and in cities in Pakistan, there's so much gap, yeah, in terms of education. So she actually got educated in cities, but eventually she would like to contribute herself in local area so that women in local area can be more active and then can receive the equal opportunity in terms of education. Yeah, and then I myself yeah, actively engage in other practitioners to talk about how to empower women, yeah, including sustainability practitioners and youth. Those are the pictures. Yeah, and then not only learning about the leadership, but leadership comes from other fields as well. So sometimes I invite um, practitioners, professors to give very science oriented lectures. That time was about neuroscience, yeah, learning process, yeah, multidisciplinary approach to problem solving and demonstration of biometric devices. Okay. But no matter how complicated the topic is, the young people are very active listeners, and also they mentioned their opinions and the questions. So it was such a great opportunity. And then always I'm telling them that, well, okay, most of my students are leaders in their own countries, but they sometimes feel, as mothers in Japan felt loneliness, sometimes leaders may become lonely. But I think I'm telling them that loneliness is a great opportunity because each leader needs to think really, yeah, think individually first in order to make decision or take actions, right? But before, they need some time to think about. So loneliness is a great opportunity. And
Absolutely,
also,
Yuri. Wow. Wow. There's
yeah,
so much
sorry,
there.
one more.
Sorry, we've come to the end of your discussion. I could listen to
Yeah,
you
sure,
all
sure,
day.
sure.
You have so much to say and express, and what you're discussing is so important and forward thinking. Like just the introduction I gave you does not even like compromise or like summarize or anything that you're doing. Like I gave such a small seed of what you're actually doing, and you've just come in and just blown us away with all your projects. Like education in itself is so profound and so important. And then what you're actually doing in education is just leading the way for the children. It's giving them a voice, it's giving them a platform. You're also incorporating like waste and sustainability into it. Wow. I really did not want to stop you speaking, but obviously we have the next speaker,
Yeah,
but
that's
I would
okay. Sure,
continue to
sure.
love more, to hear more and more about all you're doing. It's so profound and important. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for
Thank
today.
you. Yes, that was the last
And
slide. Yes. And that was the last slide. Thank you so much.
oh wow,
Yes, for
amazing. Yeah,
listening. Really.
I really don't like interrupting, but I just have to honor the next speaker. But thank you
No,
so
that's
much.
okay.
And
Yeah, thank you so
you're
much. Yes,
incredible.
for
And
the
I
great
will definitely be
opportunity.
reaching out to you. And I'm sure so many people who are watching now or later will be reaching out
Thank
to you also. Really, really incredible what you're doing. Thank you.
you. Okay, have a great day and have a great evening, everyone. Thank you for listening.